Hi, I am doing Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Um, Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that children move through 4 different stages of mental development. His theory focuses not only on understanding how children acquire knowledge, but also on understanding the nature of intelligence. He has 4 theories, which is the sensory motor stage, the pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage. Up until this point in history, children were largely treated simply as smaller versions of adults. Piaget was one of the first to identify that the way that children think is different from the way adults think. Based on his observations, he concluded that children were not less intelligent than adults, but simply think different. Albert Einstein called Piaget's discovery so simple only a genius could have thought of it. I just thought that was a cool fun fact. Piaget's stage theory describes the cognitive development of children. Cognitive development involves changes in cognitive process and abilities. In Piaget's view, early cognitive development involves processes based upon actions and later processes to changes in mental operations. During this early stage of cognitive development, infants and toddlers acquire knowledge through sensory experiences and manipulating objects. A child's entire experience at the earliest period of this stage occurs through basic reflexes, senses, and motor responses. It is during the sensory motor stage that the children go through a period of dramatic growth and learning. As kids interact with other environments, they are continually making new discoveries about how the world works. So to continue on with the sensory motor stage, that is going to be ages birth to about 2 years. Let me flip my notes page. The infant knows the world through their movements and sensations. Children learn about the world through basic actions such as sucking, grasping, looking, and listening. To move on to the pre-operational stage, that's ages from 2 to 7, children begin to think symbolically and learn to use words and pictures to represent objects. Children at this stage tend to be egocentric and struggle to see things from the perspective of others. While they are getting better with language and thinking, they still tend to think about things in very concrete terms. Ages 7 to 11, which is the concrete operational stage. During this stage, children begin to think logically about events. They begin to understand the concept of conservation. And I have a little example from what I learned in high school, and it was at this age, children begin to realize that the same amount of liquid in a wide, short cup is equal to a tall, skinny glass, for example. Their thinking becomes more logical and organized, but still very concrete. Children begin using inductive logic or reasoning from specific information to a general principle. And then the last one is formal operational stage, and that's ages 12 and up. At this stage, the adolescent or young adult begins to think abstractly and reason about hypothetical problems. Teens begin to think more moral, physiological, ethical, social, and political issues that require theoretical and abstract reasoning. Some of the results that I put was Piaget discovered that children think and reason different at different periods in their lives. He believes that everyone passes through a sequence of 4 qualitatively distinct stages. Much of Piaget's interest in the cognitive development of children was inspired by his observations of his own nephew and daughter. These observations reinforced his budding hypothesis that children's minds were not merely smaller versions of adult minds. Piaget believed that children take an active role in the learning process, acting much like little scientists as they perform experiences, make observations, and learn about the world. He discovered that children think and reason differently at different periods in their lives. He believed that everyone passes through a sequence of 4 qualitatively distinct stages.